your health. Whatever you were when you apply for our insurance, as long as your policy does not lapse throughout that term, you don't have to prove your health. Okay. Then we have a terminal illness rider. This one is big. I have a personal story with this one. My mom was actually a training appointment when we first got started. And after becoming our client, after 3 months, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Okay. We were able to apply for the terminal illness rider. Basically, what that means is if you become terminally ill and you have the proper documentation proving that you're terminally ill, you can pull from the face amount of that policy up to 70% to pay for medical treatment or whatever it is that you want to do. That's huge. And this is why, Mrs. May, because most people simply can't afford medical treatment. Would you agree with that?
Most definitely.
Health insurance does not cover everything, right? So what if you can pull from the face amount of your policy and be able to save your loved one's life? That's a big deal, okay? And then the last one I'll speak on is 93% of claims are paid within 14 days. Now, what is the first thing that most people think about when someone passes away?
Burial.
Burial. That's right. Absolutely. So the fact that our 93% of our claims are paid within 14 days, that is huge, right? Because you're able to mourn and not have to worry about financial stress, right? You're able to take care of the things that you need to take care of financially and mourn your loved one. That's huge. That's a big deal. All right, now let's say they don't have any coverage. So we swing back over here to no coverage. All right, Mrs. May. So currently you have no insurance coverage on your own, protection on your own, usually it's due to one of the following reasons. You didn't see a need for it. Oh, I don't need it. I'm good to go. You didn't think you could afford it. It just simply costs too much, right? You just can't afford to put it in your budget, or you just never got around to it. Which one best describes you?
I didn't think I could afford it.
Okay. Have you ever gotten a quote before?
I have not.
Okay. All right. So is protecting your family important enough you would be willing to begin setting aside some money each month to take care of this?
Of course.
Okay. If we can put together a program that will be affordable for you, is there any reason why you wouldn't implement that program?
No.
All right. All right, you guys. So that's the four quadrants. Do you guys have any questions about that before we go into closing the life application? Any questions? Speak now, forever hold your peace. Gabby, you have questions?
No, I'm good.
Nobody
I have
has
a question.
questions? Who's that? Alex?
Yes.
Alex the Great. Yes, sir.
So when you were going over like banks and fridges, let's say the client had a whole life. How would you approach the slide versus if they had none? Because you asked, oh, have you ever heard of whole life before? So what would you do instead if they had a whole life and you go into banks and fridges? What transition do you do?
I'm still going to do the same thing. I'm still going to destroy it. I'm still going to destroy it. Right? Because here's the thing. It's already in our presentation and we didn't know that they had a whole life. You get what I'm saying? So it's a part of our presentation to destroy whole life. So I'm still going to destroy it, but I'm going to ask them first and foremost, do you know how your policy works? Right? Which is the slides after, after we go through everything, we ask them those questions. So even better because they have a policy and now I'm about to destroy whole life in a nice way. So once they tell me that, oh, I'm really going in because now I'm like, okay, I got to replace this policy, right? Because you got trash value. We got to replace it. Does that answer your question?
Like the transition, like you asked Gabriel first when you went to whole life, have you ever heard of whole life before? But when you like go through the slides saying, do you have an emotional attachment? What's your transition to go to whole life? So that way you could explain it.
Are you losing me? Because that comes after when you ask them about their policy. That comes after the fourth quadrant. That's what you're talking about, the questions afterwards. Let's go back. You lost me.
When you get to banks and fridges, right, that slide?
Yeah.
So like when you did it with Gabriel, she had just group insurance. But let's say she had a whole life and you get to this slide. What do you say first? Do you still say, like, I know you don't say have you heard a whole life? Because they haven't. So what do you say instead? Just to transition.
If they say they have a whole life,
Mm-hmm.
I still ask them, do you know how your policy works? I'm still going to ask them that.
On this slide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before the slide, like, because right
Mhm.
here, because I'm going to ask, right, before we get to that, hold on, let's go back. I'm going to know what they have before we even go into the quadrants. Because on this side right here, oh man, that's why you gotta know how to work through the slides, y'all. How much coverage do you currently have? Once they tell me, I'm gonna ask them, is it group
Mhm.
or is it private? I'm gonna ask them right here once they tell me how much. So I already know what they have right then and there. And then once I go into the 4 quadrants, let's say she does say whole life. She says I have 200,000, and I say, okay, great. Is it private or is it group? And she says, oh, it's whole life. Then I'll ask, okay, great. Do you feel overinsured, underinsured, or not sure? Then she'll say whatever she'll say. Then I'll say, okay, great. We're going to go into the 4 ways to protect your income. Then we'll go into group insurance. And then when we go into private, I'll say, so Mrs. May, you said you have whole life. Do you know how your policy works? I'm going to ask right then and there. And then I'm going to go into the slide to go over how the policy works. Because sometimes they'll say, yes, Alex, but do they really know how their policy works? Truthfully, they
Never.
don't know. Never, right? So I'll say, okay, this would be great for Gabrielle's training, but really I'm educating you on how your policy works because I never want them to think I'm attacking them.
Mhm.
Do you know how your policy works, Mrs. May? She'll say, yeah, I know how it works. And I'll say, okay, great. So this would be great for, look, Gabrielle's the trainer and the client, right? And then I'll still go through it and I'll destroy it because she doesn't know. They don't know. They're saying they do, but they don't. And then when you go through it and you say, if you knowingly knew how this policy worked, what would you do? They say, I would get out of it. I would switch it up fast. I would terminate it, right? So that's why that's important. So yes, I do still ask that. I do. Listen, I'm not holding any punches on the qualified appointment. I'm going in. This is my only shot. This is it right here. Right? It's game time. I don't have time to be lollygagging. Either you for me or you against me. I'm gonna find out as I go through the presentation, straight up, right? If you have whole life, I'm gonna tell you my story. I'm gonna tell you how it's over in premium and underinsured. I'm gonna destroy it. I'm gonna let you know, listen, I had it too. I didn't understand it. This is what happened. And then boom, I'm going in. I'm going in because I understand I'm you. I have a testimony about my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I have a testimony. My uncle had a universal life. So I can talk about it and I can be about it. It's not like I'm coming at the client as if I don't know. No, I understand because I had it. So I'm like, do you know how your whole life works? If they say yes, sometimes it depends on the client. Like if they're kind of arrogant, I say, oh, you're good because I was ignorant. I knew nothing about my policy. I get very humble and I lay down before them. I'm a servant. I'm like, listen, I was ignorant. I knew nothing about my whole life. You're a whole lot better than me. Especially if they got that little cocky, I think that, they know everything and I got a whole, oh yeah, I'm about to go in. I'm like, man, that's awesome. I knew nothing. I was so ignorant. Me and my husband, we were clueless financially. I mean, we knew nothing. You're a whole lot better than we were. That's what I'm saying, because they don't want you to think that they don't know anything. They want you to think that they know everything. You understand what I'm saying? And I never want a client to think that I'm coming in like, oh, I got all this. This is what, no. I understand. This is where I was. This is where I am. This is where I'm going. Right? That makes sense? So I'm still going to ask those questions just like that. Anybody else have a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Russian Mafia.
And yes, so listen, I mean, great training. Thank you so much. So my question is, so on that, I just kind of want to, you kind of said it, I just want to make sure I understood. So when you ask them, like, what kind of coverage do you have, right, before there's 4 ways to protect your family, and let's say you find out they have a whole life, then you go to this slide, you still cover all 4, or you just go only in the whole life?
I still cover all 4. Because this is why I don't want anybody to say, oh, you can get group. It's cheaper than term. I don't want anybody to say that, right? I'm going to go over term because I want you to have term, and I'm going to go over whole life because I'm about to destroy the heck out of what you have. So I'm still going to go over all 4, all 3, right? I'm not going to go over no coverage because they have coverage, but I'm definitely going to go over those 3 because I don't want anyone else to come back to you and say something different that might interest you because I didn't go over something, you know, within those 3 quadrants. So
Oh,
yes, I'm going to cover it all.
so
Absolutely.
so let's say if they have a whole life, you will cover the whole life, the last, and then kind of come back to this saying, now you understand how it works? Like how
I would
you,
do it the same way. I would do group, then I would do whole life, then I would do term. I'll still do it the same way. And then if they have no insurance, I go back over to no insurance.
so let's say you went through 3 of them, and then you know they have a whole life, right? And then what you say, how you come back to this?
Come back to this slide.
So you went through, so you know they have a whole life. You went to 3 scenarios,
Right.
employer,
Then I
cash,
go here.
term.
Then I go here. So after I go through all the scenarios and I know how they're, and I know what they have, I say, now, Mrs. May, do you know how your policy works now? Does that make a little bit more sense? Because this is what happens. When you go through that whole life, you're seeing the expression on their face that they didn't know what the heck just hit them. They're like, wait, what? That's not how my whole life works, right? That's what people say. No, once a whole life, always a whole life. It is how your whole life works, period. That's how it works, right? So I ask them right here, so do you know, now you know how your whole life works? Does that make sense? I don't say it like that, but you guys know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And then why did you buy your existing policy? Was it for protection and coverage, investment, or both? And this is where you start to find out. They start talking a little bit more when you ask these questions. They start to open up because now they're starting to see, man, I got bamboozled because of an investment, a poor freaking investment. I got hoodwinked. That's what happened. They sold this to me as something that it wasn't, right? That's what happens. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So these questions right here, you all, are very important. These are so important, right? If you were to change benefits, what would interest you most? Lower cost, more coverage, better return. They say all 3. Okay, you know right then and there, you got insurance and investments. You know right there, because you know you're going to be able to get them a lower cost in insurance, and you know you're going to be able to get them a better rate of return and more coverage. So that's all 3 right there, right? We find almost everyone greatly benefits by allowing us to evaluate their existing insurance, even those with term. Our promise is that we will never ask you to change any financial program if there is not a significant advantage and it's obvious to you. If it were possible, we could significantly improve your current life insurance program, save you money, more protection. Do you have any emotional attachment to your current company or agent that would prevent you from making that change? Now, I've gotten, yes, this is my uncle, this is my cousin, this is my aunt. I say, okay, I completely understand. However, it would really help Gabrielle out if we can review those policies just so she can know how, you know, State Farm works, how Liberty Mutual works. And guess what? I'm sizing them up. I know you said that was your aunt. I know you said that was your auntie, but your auntie put you in a poor freaking insurance policy, and we about to destroy it. What you do after that is on you, but you about to get educated on this carryback. It's a home game. I'm lining it up. I got all the fans surrounding me. I'm ready to go play, right? I'm gonna line it up. And I'm gonna destroy it in a nice way for Gabrielle's training and let them know what they have.
How do you review it?
Say it again.
How do you review it? Like they just showing it to you like this through the camera?
Oh, no. Carry back. I want them to email it to me. I don't hold nothing up on no, because I need to look at it. I need to circle stuff online. I need to highlight stuff online, and I want to pull it back up on our carry back, and I want to go through everything. It's strategic. It's planned. It's lined up. We got our home jerseys on. We got the Black Mamba jerseys on. We going in, right? You want them to email it to you. I don't want nobody hold nothing up. Like, can't even, no. We're gonna do carry back. We're gonna carry it back. You're gonna email me the insurance policy, and then me and Gabrielle, we're gonna go through it, right? If they need help, I've even helped clients get the policy because we need the policy. If they have a policy, there's nothing we can do typically if we don't see their policy. Because I'm sitting with someone right now. I got a referral. You saw from a client who's one of her friends, $800 a month for an IUL. $800 a month for an IUL. She makes over $200,000 a year. She lives in California. Listen to this. She has $250,000 on herself and $150,000 on her husband. They're a little over 50. They pay $800 a month, you guys. And she's down. She's like, no, I want to buy term and invest the difference. She said, you don't have to, no. She told me, you don't have to look at my policy. No. I want you to understand because I know that agent is going to come back after I put you in our term and she going to try to bamboozle you again. So no. We going to go over this We're going to highlight it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to destroy it. And then we're going to buy term and invest the difference. So I always want to get it. I'm like, no, Marcia, send it to me. She's like, no, it's okay. We just got it. We're not going to keep. No. Send it to me. I want to see it so we could talk about it. So you want to get it. You don't want them holding up anything. You know, I know we premium junkies, but we got to take it slow, right? We want to go through, right? We want to go through all the steps to get that application and help them apply. Anybody else got a question?
That's
What
perfect.
more important to you, your relationship with your friend, family member, or your spouse and kids? That's a good one. That's good, Alex. Y'all see that in chat? Alex said, what's more important to you, your relationship with your friend, family member, or your spouse and kids? That's big. That's huge. I got to write that down. I got to take a picture of that. That's good. Thank you. See what I'm saying? You learn. All right, y'all. What else? Anybody else have questions? What if policy is several pages? Like, what pages should you ask for? The first 5 or so? I asked for the illustrations. I asked for any tables, and definitely the first page that has, like, you know, their insurance class, how much coverage, what type of policy it is, any disclaimers. That's what I asked for. And then sometimes I'll even FaceTime them on WhatsApp or FaceTime, and look, they'll be able to show me the policy through a FaceTime, and then I'll tell them what to send me. Yeah, because you want to get all the information you need to destroy whatever it is that they have. And you want to educate them. So yes, that's very important. What else, you all?
Shay, I have a situation.
Yes, ma'am.
Mama V and I had a client, and I'm pretty sure Mama V has talked to you about it. I don't know if she has or not, but we had a policy written on her. She changed her mind. Now she wants to switch over to her spouse's group coverage. What would you do to try to get her back over to understand? And she's seen the presentation and she knows what group insurance is. How would you try to get her to come back?
She doesn't want to do private. She want to go back to group.
She just got married. I don't know if Mama V has shared this with you or not.
She has. I'm supposed to get on. We supposed to get on the phone with her. Yeah, she has shared it with me. She has.
I actually spoke with her yesterday.
Okay.
And she said that they're not looking at going the route for her getting her own policy for herself and her kids. She's going to go on her spouse's policy on her group coverage.
Well, she's a brick. Nothing. There's nothing you can do. I'm
Okay.
just keeping it real. Listen, it's like raising kids, y'all, right? Me and T have done everything we can to instill what we need to instill in our son, who's going to be gone in probably, 6 months, give or take. Once he's gone, the prayer is he flies like an eagle. I've taught him, we've taught him spiritually, whatever, everything. It's the same thing with these clients. If you've seen the presentation, I'm telling you what group insurance is, and you still talking about you want group, okay, that you're a brick. You go.
Okay.
What can you do? You can keep beating it. You can keep beating it, but if she's being stubborn and ignorant, there's really nothing you can do.
And it's not even a guarantee she can get on the group coverage because of the type of situation it is.
Right. And it's probably not even open enrollment. And you're right. So that's the other thing you guys need to bring. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a very unique situation. Anybody else have questions? All right, y'all. We'll probably do closing that life app next week because it's Shaq wants us to end about 10:45. It's about 10:40 right now. You guys know what to do.
Question.
Set your week up. Oh, go ahead, Alexander the Great.
For closing the life app, let's say they have a policy, right, but they don't have it on them. What do you say right before you leave, no matter if you get referrals or not, for them to be more likely to actually do the carryback? Because like having a no-show carryback it kind of kills me.
I've had that before. I put it off on the trainee. I say this will be very helpful for Gabrielle, for us to just take a look at this policy. And also, if you have any questions about the policy, it'll be very helpful for you. Wouldn't you agree that, God forbid, if something were to happen to you, it's important for you to know exactly what you have for your survivors? Yes, absolutely. Right. So, I mean, I want to secure that, and then I will also have Gabrielle call them to make sure that the carryback is good to go. Right, because they'll do it for them. They're probably gonna do it for me, but they'll do it for them. So I'm gonna make sure that the carryback is good.
What if it's a referral?
What if it's a referral
And they don't know.
and they don't
know
want to
them.
do it? Well, have the person who referred you give them a call.
Hmm.
Have them do it. Right? You want to see here's the thing about referrals, you all, because you got to do it while it's hot, because that's happened to us before. We let the referrals get cold, then they're just stale, old, molded, no good. Nobody want to call them, and they don't even want to talk to us anymore, right? So the person who referred them, you want to make sure that they're involved if that happens. If they're not getting on the phone, hey, Gabby, can you do me a favor? Can you call Mama V and make sure that this appointment is good? Tell them it's for you. They're doing you a favor, making you look good. I'll put them on them in a minute. In a minute. Hook me up. Do me a favor. Call Mama V. She stood me up. That's not right. Right? I'm gonna call the person who referred them to make sure they help me out with it. And then if it doesn't pan out, it just doesn't pan out. Next, I don't have time to be lollygagging with people. Listen, what I got, you need this information. If you don't want to sit with me to get this information, okay, bye-bye. There's nothing I can do. I just gotta let you roll. Especially if they stand you up. I can see if something comes up, okay, but if they just blatantly dark house you on Zoom, that's so rude and disrespectful. Think about that. This is your time, your valuable time. You taking time out of your day to sit down with them to go over their policy, and they just no-show you online. That's so rude and disrespectful, man. So first off, I'm like, wow, do I want to sit with this person because of what they just did? First off, right? But if it's a valid reason, I was stuck at work, or it just depends, man. Well, I'll have Gabrielle call them, so it just depends. But if they're bojangling you like that, next, move on. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Alex, we're in it with you. So, just a kind of a little bit different question. So, you're going through like everything in the presentation. What it approximately takes you to present? How time-wise, before you?
My goal is to not go over an hour. It's anywhere between that 45 minutes to hour mark.
It's to present or start getting information, or just
to present.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you're taking an application, you're pulling it up online. So sometimes that may take a little longer because you're pulling it up online, right? But to present, I don't want to go over an hour. When I'm taking an application, I really want to go through that fast, because at this point, it's at the end. They want to hurry up too. So I'm really attempting to fly through that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So kind of your goal is really with the whole life. I mean, I'm just, saying an average. I know it's case by case basis, but if somebody has a whole life, you really want kind of really give them, break it down, right? So you're really trying to carry back.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
if it's a term or a group, it's happening now.
Absolutely. Well, term, if it's group or no insurance, is happening now. If it's term, they have a policy, I still want to take a look at it, because I want to point out to them why our term is better. Because what happens is people are like, oh, I already have a term, I'm good. That's the attitude they give off. Mm-hmm. But remember, you have terrible term. You don't have Primerica term. So I still want to take a look at their terrible term policy, because what we have is better than what they have.
Okay.
So you definitely want it. They have a policy, you want to get it. It doesn't matter if it's term or whole life, right? And those questions, it says what we find most that people greatly benefit when we evaluate their existing term insurance policies, right? And it's true. I mean, you saw the State Farm, right? I had a client with Ramon, a deacon at his church, who's like, yes, I have a term, right? We got the term. It was annual renewable term. He had for 19 years. It was going up every year for 19. What the 19? You can't. 19 years, every year, his annual renewable term went up.
That's crazy. 19
years, y'all. He said, I have a term. He sent it. I was like, Ramon, he's been having this since 1995, which is way more than 19. and it's been going up every single year. And he didn't even know that there was there was a level term. He didn't even know. What kind of agent is that? They don't even tell you that you can get a level term. You've been having this. So yes, you want to get the policy so you can destroy the heck out of it.
So if they, I mean, give you this, oh, I don't know where my policy is, obviously, either they really don't know where the policy is or they're just trying to, get you off the Zoom, right? So what do you do? How you make them to get the policy?
Oh, we calling the company together.
Right
When
there.
you agree, not, I mean, it doesn't have to be right now, it can be, but when you agree, Tanya, that it's important for you to know, as well as your survivors, to know exactly what it is that you have in the event that you pass away. Do you think that's important?
Yeah.
Right? Do you think that, whatever type of policy you have and how much you have, that it's important for them to know where it's at, how to get it, who to call? Do you think that's important? Absolutely. Okay, so what we can do is I can help you call. We can get on the phone. We can do it right now. We can set up a time and do it tomorrow, to make sure you get that policy. They can send it to you via email or send it to you in the mail, and then we can follow up and review exactly what it is that you have. Would you be open to doing that? Is that okay with you? No, we getting that policy. Some way, somehow, I'm gonna make you see why it's important to have that policy, because we got to get it.
That's cool. That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Alex, did you just raise your hand?
Yes, he
Okay.
did.
Yeah, he scratched. That was a raise the hand scratch. All right, y'all. Set your weeks up. We got. Where does anybody know where September went? Let's see. It is the 26th. Shaq said 5, right? We got 5 days, y'all. Oh my God, we got 5 days. I just scared myself. Set your week up, y'all. Y'all have a great weekend. God bless you. Bye-bye.